Alright, let's do this. Here we go. Hey, toy family. Welcome to the Marsham Toy Hour, where we discuss anything and everything designer toys. I'm Gary Ham.
I'm Teresa Hawkins.
And I'm George Gaspar.
And let's get this over with. Teresa texted me and she says, let's make this quick, in and out.
All right,
I said, let's make it
see you guys
snappy.
next week.
Make it snappy. What's the rush? You got big plans tonight? You going out? Hitting the town?
Right. Yeah. That's totally what's happening.
Well, then what's
no,
the rush?
I gotta shower and I gotta go to bed.
Why do you wait to
almost
do
10
all this
o'clock
stuff?
my time.
Yeah. Do all this stuff before we get going on the podcast.
No, you don't realize I'm sacrificing shower time now to be here on the phone with you all.
What people don't know is we were supposed to start 17 minutes ago, but Teresa decided to book all of her DesignerCon stuff at the beginning of the show. So she was on Hotels.com and booking her flight. So now we're 17 minutes delayed because you couldn't get your shit done in time.
It wasn't. George was driving at the beginning. He wasn't even on right away. So don't give it all to me.
It's okay. George lives in LA. I'll let him slide. I know what traffic's like out there. You've been home for the past 3 hours.
Okay, well, I'm sorry. I walked Bailey, we got back, and then I knew the sites I buy from, they have a sale right now, and I wanted to take advantage, and I get scared to hit the button on non-refundable things, so it's a process. But I'm officially booked for DCon, so it's exciting.
Congratulations.
Gary, are you booked?
I'm booked. Yep.
Oh wow, I was expecting a no.
No, I'm good to go. I'm ready. You booked,
You know,
George?
No.
Do you even need to book?
No.
No.
That's what I thought. I have to say, this is expensive. I last year flew into John Wayne, the Santa Ana or SNA or whatever it is, and I couldn't do that this year. It was way too pricey. So going to LAX, hopefully it works out. I know it's further away, but it's what I had to do.
It'll be fine. See?
Yeah, there's shuttles that go out to Disneyland all the time. There's all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I like convenience, but I'm excited. It's all booked. Now I'm all ready to start getting into that decon zone. Start hearing.
Start saving your money now.
Yeah. Maybe we should reach out to Ben. Get a DesignerCon update episode or something.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah.
George, we actually ended up recording last week. Where were you?
Yeah, you kind of forgot to tell.
We didn't forget, per se.
Yeah, I got the little text from you guys. What was it, yesterday? And said, hey, don't forget to listen to the episode we recorded without you and didn't tell you about.
It was completely impromptu. I wanted to call. I have not talked to Teresa in about a month. She's been, so we haven't even been texting her DM like we usually do. It's just been quiet. So I'm like, I should probably reach out and actually do, call. And so I'm like, you know what? Let's record this call. So that's kind of what happened.
I don't know, Gary, because it's when I listened to the episode, because I did that because I wasn't on it. You said that you set it up Friday night with Teresa to record Saturday morning. So at least there was a good 12 hours of, hey, George, are you going to be in on this one?
Sorry. Okay, what? Well, wait,
Well-
a little, hold on.
That's okay. George has no mojo. George has no, what was all the rest
Not
of the
true
stuff?
at all. No, you should
Well,
start
I did
practicing
listen
more.
to the episode, and I'm glad I wasn't there because I had no idea what anybody was talking about. There was a lot of Labubu things, a lot of names and sounds.
Did you hear the beginning? Our idea for you to get a episode all wrapped around anything and everything you want to talk about and understand.
Yeah, we could do that, and then I can sit here and talk about Glyos, and I'll throw in a Chris Reiniak or two because I'm still down with that. There won't be a single Labubu in my episode, I guarantee it.
That is, so Teresa, if she says Reiniak anymore, it's $5 in the pot, and it's the same for me. Lil Boo Boo, it's got to go. For now on, it will
Especially
be
since you're not even a collector. You have one.
true.
You don't even deserve to talk about him.
Going forward, it will be the L word.
I do have to say, though, it kind of sucks to listen to this podcast unless you're at a computer or available to, be on your phone, because, I wanted to see all the stuff you guys were talking about, and I can't, I was driving, so I couldn't do anything about it. And then by the time I get home, I forget. I was, what was that XT9G? I was like, what was the thing? I got to remember that. I want
Right.
to see what that figure is. So, yeah, man, this is
Well-
really a podcast that you need to keep a computer around for.
Well, I do spend a lot of time compiling links. So in the show notes through Podbean or Facebook or wherever you're watching, if you just have your phone out, if you're in there and you go to the show notes, there are links so you can easily click as you go. But yeah, if you're listening while you're driving, it's probably difficult. So.
Yeah, it's not a good driving podcast, it turns out.
It's not a good podcast at all.
Well, I wasn't
Gary!
going to say that, but I can agree.
You too. You get rid of that negative Nancy attitude.
Are we going to turn it around today?
Yeah,
Oh
let's
my
turn it
gosh.
around. Let's start talking about some toys.
You too.
Are we going to change anything up, Teresa? I saw on the doc, you did a great job on doing some
Wait a
prep
minute,
notes here.
is this where you guys get rid of me?
No, not yet.
Yeah.
You're good. You're good for now.
George.
We have some emails out, though, George. I'm kidding. I'm kidding, of course. No, but we were talking about changing up some things. Maybe talking about some show segments. Maybe,
Oh, my highlight idea?
talking about some artists we haven't talked about. Getting back to that history thing. Talking about a toy in history. We haven't figured it all out, but that's some stuff that maybe at some point we need to start implementing. I don't know if we're getting stagnant. What people want, we don't know. Just introducing new things. So I don't know if you want to do that tonight, or is this something we want to plan for going forward?
Well, so my thought was, in the past, right, we had the leaks and sneak peek segment that we'd kind of kick off the show with, and I feel like we kind of already just fully integrate that in the show. So if there's something that we saw that we want to talk about, it's just folded in. So I thought instead we could try a new segment to kick off the episodes. I just called it Highlight of the Week. The thought was we could just use the beginning of an episode to highlight any kind of, I guess, news we've seen. So if someone has announced they're going to have a gallery show, or someone just launched a Kickstarter, like you said, that this day in history, trying to bring back, highlighting something that happened 10 years ago or whatever. Because you all, like last episode when you brought up that train toy rolling stock, is that what it was?
Mm-hmm.
But I hadn't even heard of that. So I think you all have more history than me. So being able to bring up something that existed 10 years ago and talk on that a little bit could be fun. I think it's going to be dependent upon obviously what's happening week by week as far as what we can talk about. But I do think we could highlight a few shows if you want in our highlight of the week.
Go for it. You got some shows in mind?
Well, there are actually 2 shows that open, I believe it was last weekend. So it's their August shows. And one was a Sofubi show called, good God, gosh, I'm off my game, Gary. Soft Feed Battle. So they partnered with Rampage Toys to pull together a lot of different soft vinyl artists, Devil Robots, Rampage Toys, Art Junkie. And so if you were to go look, it's kind of that traditional sort of Sofubi stuff. And then they also did a solo show with the Mexican-based sculptor and illustrator, Mr. Mitote? Is it Mitote?
Mitote. He's Mexican, so yeah, that would be Mitote.
Mitote. With some, different sculpts, like customs. There's still some pieces available from both of them, and yeah, it's some cool stuff.
I saw the Mr. Mitote ones, and that guy's phenomenal. He's one of these, he has a very distinct style, so you instantly know it's him, but he's also one of these sculptural customizers who mainly works on Moneys and Dunnies from what I recall, and I think that's what all the pieces in the solo show that he did for Clutter is all Moneys and Dunnies, and 2 of them are really nice. They're sitting in these, I think it was 2. We're sitting in these little wooden cars he designed as well. So he's exceptionally talented, and nice to see him have a custom show. But you mentioned there was 2 shows, and the Soft Vibe Battle one. I'm looking through this now, and it's really nice stuff too.
There's a piece. Have you seen my favorite piece from that show? Is this King Pakara? It's like a 3-headed llama on 2 feet with wings. It's kind of like what is the 3-headed monster that Hercules fights?
Chimera. No, Hydra.
I guess, like the snake thing or whatever. It's like or like the Hydra or whatever, it's like a llama heads instead of snake heads, and it's got wings like a Pegasus. But it's like weird, but also super adorable at the same time.
You still there, George?
Oh yeah, I'm here. I have no idea.
I think this is why we don't talk shows. It's kind of hard to describe to the listeners.
Well, I will send you the links, George, so that you can look at them.
Hopefully
Actually,
no one's driving right now because they're going to be mad they can't see it.
No, the King Picara by Art Junkie, though, it's not the first time that toy has been out there. They just happened to do some one-of-a-kind paint jobs, like one-off paint jobs on them for the show, so one-off customs.
Yeah, I've seen that toy for, it seems like a few years now, but are you sure is it Art Junkie who did it, or was it...
I thought it was Art Junkie.
Okay, no, this is my bad. I'm misreading this. I also saw that, I guess Rampage just did a custom spray on it.
Now you got me questioning.
Say, we can't talk soft vinyl stuff. We don't know what we're talking about.
Well, we need to. We need to be expansive, Gary. We have to cover our bases. Now I'm going to Clutter real quick, double check.
I'm sure you're right.
Me. Art Junkie. Oh wait. Yeah, the artist's name is Shinichiro AJ Kato. Art Junkie Tokyo.
Okay.
That's the artist's name.
There you go.
You may have seen some of their other stuff, like the three-eyed calm cat.
No idea.
The little dude with the poop head.
These aren't ringing a bell. I need to look at this link again.
You all just don't know anything. I at least know those.
Oh, don't act like you know. If I say calm cat, you would have no idea what it was.
I do know what calm cat is. It's the three-eyed cat. You've never heard of calm cat?
No. I'm seeing it for the first time. I don't think I've ever seen it before.
Yeah, you have seen it.
Man, I am cutting this out. This is terrible.
They did a VAG series. All right, well, let's just continue going down the path.
That was a nice try at a new segment, though. But that was a fail.
All right, well, I'm just going to sit back, go on mute, and let you lead the show, Gary.
No, it's good. But we talked about a show that none of us follow any of this sort of stuff.
The whole point was to try to talk about stuff we don't typically talk about, and I had to throw together these notes and without any help, and I'm just going to go on mute, and you bring up whatever you want to bring up.
Oh, man.
Wow, it's getting rough in here.
Yeah, well.
We could redo it and just mention the llama head.
Oh, it needs to stay in, all of that. Here, how about I'll bring a Kickstarter to you guys that has some things in it that might be toy related.
Might be.
Well, I mean, it's a game, but there's little pieces that I think Teresa might actually like, the little pieces.
Great. We're off to a great start.
I want to hear about the toy pieces. Continue, George.
It's called Mokuru Card Game by JF. That's the title.
You got to spell that.
If you want to look it up, you can look up Mokuru. Mokuru Card Game. And it's got this little, like, there's a little game piece that you kind of, like, flip around the table and do little tricks with. That's supposed to be, like, how you play the game. There's cards that show you what trick you have to do, and if you can pull it off, you win a little bit, your guy moves or whatever. But it comes with these 5 little characters that are, like, super cute.
Yeah, they look like the little Dharma guys, right?
Yeah, they're like the little guy that you draw the eye on. Like, you get one eye when you get it, and you draw the other eye later. But these guys have all their eyes.
I don't know what you mean by you get the eye with one eye and draw it on later.
You never saw those figures from Japan? Those, like, it's some kind, I don't remember what they're called, but, like, it comes with one eye already done. Or when you buy it, you draw the first eye, and then whatever the like, thing you're getting it for, like, you're wishing for or whatever, or this, like, the event you're getting it to, like, complete the task you complete. When you complete the task, you finish the other eye.
This is news to me.
Gary, you know what I'm talking about, right?
No clue. You might as well be talking about llama hydras.
There were companies that made that toy in our scene.
Show it to me. Send me a link.
I don't know what it is. Look up the Mokaru card game and you'll see the guy.
Dude, how do you spell Mukaru?
Oh,
He
jeez.
already spelled it. Mokuru.
Leave all this in, too.
Makaru is the name of the like thingy you're doing tricks with.
I
not
think
the
so,
little
yeah.
toy.
Yeah.
So Makaru is one of the names calls it a fidget stick, but it's basically like a little weighted stick toy, and the game is to, like George said, do stuff with it. But I was asking about the little Dharma dude, the little characters that come with it. And I thought I didn't know that. Is that what the ones where you draw the eye on the little character?
There's a thing. It's based on something. I don't know the name of it because I'm terrible remembering anything.
I'm reading
right
through
now.
the
Someone is listening to this and just yelling at us.
I'm trying to scroll through and see if the Kickstarter says what the name of the toy is.
I don't think so because they're not like. This isn't like related in any way to it, and they just have that like art style of that little figure. It's like they're usually like a little round ball, like little round head, and like they have you draw the first eye, and then you have the task that you're trying to complete, and then when you do it, you draw the second eye.
Wait, explain it one more time because I'm not really clear on what this is.
How have you guys never heard of this thing?
I literally just Googled toy where you draw a second eye to see if I can figure out.
As far as this card game, I think that the toys that you're looking at, Teresa, I think they're called Daruma.
Yeah, okay, I said Dharma, which was a poor way to say it. Daruma. Oh, here, the Wikipedia. Okay, hold on. I saw something about drawing an eye.
Daruma, that's it. That's the thing.
That's the thing with the eye?
Made those.
Look, the eyes of Daruma are often... Blah, blah, blah. The Wikipedia has the answer. The eye of Daruma are often blank when sold. The author described the oversized, symmetrical, round, blank, white eyes as means to keep track of goals or big tasks and motivate them to work to the finish. The recipient of the doll fills in one eye upon setting the goal and the other upon fulfilling it. George!
Knows what he's talking about. Damn it, George. You're just dealing with an ignorant host here. I don't know what the hell you guys are talking about.
Look, somebody at freaking 5 Points had one. If I had mentioned 5 Points, would you guys know what I'm talking about?
No, I thought it was called a Dharma, not a Daruma, and that's what threw me for a loop from the beginning. But now I gotta look up Daruma designer toy.
There's a whole bunch of Darumas.
Yeah. Here's one by P&L Toy Works, artist Patrick Leon.
Yeah.
Oh, Black Drove did one. Oh, Rhino Kim did one as a box cat.
Did Art Junkie do one when we had to draw a third eye?
Everyone's done one of these in the scene. It's been on the Toy Chronicle. It's been on Spanky Stokes. Everybody does this stupid thing. How have you guys never heard of this?
Because Teresa kept calling it Dharma, and honestly, George, every time I see the toy, the second eye is completed. I've never had to draw the second eye.
There was even a VAG series for it, Gary.
Oh, geez. Then you should have definitely heard of it.
Oh, my God.
I've seen this character, but I always thought it was a Dharma, which was just me and my inability to read and pronunciate.
Well, Reese's Pieces, too, so.
And she's probably never seen Lost, and she's saying Dharma for some reason. Have you ever seen Lost, Teresa?
The show?
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched Lost.
Okay. Just checking.
I just didn't know. And I didn't know the history behind it. I had no idea that there was a story behind it about goal setting.
Well, anyway, that game is funded, and if anybody wants it, it looks fun. I'm a backer.
Oh, man. You're right, though. The little pieces are cute. And actually, I'm kind of intrigued by this toy, this flipping toy, trick toy.
Yeah, it looks fun.
It does look fun.
Unlike doing this show.
All right.
Let's get it.
You guys come up with something. I did my piece.
George out.
There's your toy history, too, apparently.
Well,
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, see, we kind of combined two in one.
Oh, well, so many people are yelling at us, more than usual this episode. I mean, me not knowing Pakara and then the Daruma Dharma thing. Hopefully they're laughing.
Well, and I was even going to bring up another one, but I'm going to be dumb because it's Hebrew Brantley. They just did a solo show at Rotofuji.
Yeah.
And I know he's a very well-known artist, and I know there's been some designer toys, but my knowledge stops there.
Oh, that's the guy that does those, like the Flyboy or something like that it's called, right?
Yeah, the Flyboy wearing the goggles. He's huge.
Yeah.
His stuff, everything's sold out already for that show.
Oh, yeah.
That stuff sells like crazy.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are banking on him being the next Cause or something.
The only reason I know it is because Ben and Kevin like it because it's hype stuff.
Right.
It's definitely like his stuff is pricey and it sells and it's limited. And I think even Rotofuji, to try to help give the chance for people to get their hands on original piece, one of the items in the show they did lottery style. But it's very cool work. But yeah, I mean, when I think of his toys, that's what I picture is the boy with the goggles and then like kind of like an aviator hat.
Yeah.
But again, this is a toy show and you're talking about hand-embellished prints.
Well, but he sells toys.
Oh, he does a bunch of toys, though.
He does, but the show has no toys in it. We should not be talking about this show. Other than it's held at a toy store, Rotofuji.
My goodness.
All right, Gary, what did you bring?
I didn't bring... No, let me see.
He didn't bring shit,
I brought
George.
You know what?
I did all the prep.
Screw you guys. I'm going to bring some real news to the toy show for once. I'm going to introduce some politics into our program today.
All right, let's hear your raving about Trump again.
Again? What?
That post you put in our group.
Oh, the one where Clem went off like a madman? Yeah, that one was... I posted that because I wanted people to be aware of the tariff taxes coming to our industry, but I didn't realize it was going to go that south so fast. So, but yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about. So there is going to be a 10% tariff tax on Chinese imports to the States, so things like computers and toys and shoes and whatnot, and that was supposed to begin in September, but this week we learned that that's been postponed until December 15th. So that gives companies a little more time to prepare, decide, make the decision making, and also probably help out with holiday sales.
So it affects people having to buy things from China that they need to make things, correct?
I think it's going to affect even bringing in vinyl toys and stuff.
Yeah, anything that's there are going to be some exclusionary products, but most of the stuff, toys, monitors, shoes, clothing, anything that's manufactured in China and imported to the States is now going to have an additional 10% tariff. So now companies are now having to look for production outside of China or manufacturing outside of China, Vietnam, Korea, Thailand, or have you, or they're going to have to just potentially raise the cost of their merchandise by 10%, or eat or keep the prices the same and just eat the tariff cost. It's not good. What is coming is not good.
So do we know in the scene how prominent China production? Because I know there's,
Very.
Is that the majority, you'd say?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I don't know what percentage, but it's a large percentage, probably 80% of any mass-produced toy, whether it's designer toy or mainstream toy, is probably being produced or manufactured in China. So that additional 10% tariff that's going to be hit by the toy industry is not good at all, because there is such a thing as called price elasticity, which is the demand of a product when only its price changes. And they've learned that there's a breach point on toys, especially with the mainstream toys, where a parent goes into a Target or a Walmart and they kind of already have a set price in their mind what they're not willing to pay more than. And so an action figure potentially, breaking the $10 price point, or a board game breaking a $20 price point, that's the breach point where people aren't going to support that product anymore. And I think our side of the industry might be a little more prepared for the price elasticity going on, because our collectors kind of already been paying higher prices for the smaller run, independently produced stuff. But our side of toys definitely has that breach point too. So it's definitely a concern, and the toy industry as a whole is going to be greatly impacted come December 15th.
I mean, what happens to things like blind boxes when, they have to raise up prices to go to $15? You guys already hate that kind of stuff, you know?
Yeah, I think I stopped buying blind boxes when they hit $12 price point. It's like the gamble of it was no longer fun. I'll just seek those out online in an open box format. So I think you're right. That's exactly what I was talking about with the price elasticity and the breaching of price. I think once it's especially with these smaller ticket priced items, that's the area that's just definitely going to be impacted the most. I don't know about the high end, more expensive price things because people are probably willing to, if they're already willing to spend that much, want a few extra bucks more. But the smaller priced items, yeah, it's not good, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, I'm even wondering if people will lean. Well, I guess it just depends, but I don't know. But I feel like there's always people wondering how they can get some stuff produced, and I feel like it's just going to deter it even more. It could be hard.
Yeah. Well, hopefully this postponement to December 15 will help companies get the additional time they need to seek out other avenues for manufacturing. But unfortunately, a lot of the companies are all probably seeking out the same factories that are outside of China. So, and I don't think really that many are going to be looking to the States because it's just not affordable to produce here. So it'll be interesting for sure.
Yeah. Well, and it's hard too because it's not like we have people pumping out thousands of stuff, so that cost can kind of be spread. You know, we've got people producing at small amounts. So
yeah, and it seems like the amounts have only gotten smaller as the scene has gone on.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Well, yeah, we're just a very small percentage of the world that wants to spend $100 on a toy-like object. That's why our parents and friends think we're crazy. And speaking of the world, I want to move on from the tariff talk to another part of the world that, again, how politics is affecting our toy scene. So those who may not be familiar, going on in Hong Kong right now, there have been 11 weeks of protests and riots due to an anti-extradition bill protest that have been going on out there. So those not familiar, even though Hong Kong is part of China, they are actually an independent territory within China. So up until 1997, Hong Kong had been under British rule, and then in 1997, China, the People's Republic of China, took over Hong Kong. So Hong Kong has retained its autonomy and its laws, so they are actually more democratic in nature versus mainland China, which is socialist. So that is that one country, two system term or quote that you've probably been hearing mentioned a lot over the last couple of weeks. Anyways, there was a bill proposed by the Hong Kong government that has the main just Hong Kongers and its visitors in fear that if this is actually passed, that the autonomy of the region and their basic citizen rights are going to be undermined. So, do I have that correct, Teresa?
Yeah, there's actually I read a New York Times article because I kind of was hearing pieces too, and I'm not good at keeping up with either politics or news. But what you described it as a pretty good high-level way of saying it, and Hong Kong people were not happy about it, and it created this essential divide between Hong Kong, those in Hong Kong, basically wanting to fight and support for the current rights they have, but then China saying, you know, we have a right to imply new laws, and you're still a part of China. So there's been a bit of butting heads between the two. But this political divide that started to happen between Hong Kong and China, it's kind of starting to bleed into the toy scene, kind of like the Trump stuff, right?
Yeah, but this is kind of hitting on a more personal level, it seems, because once you divulge your personal opinions and stuff, it can definitely affect relationships, and especially working relationships. And that's kind of what we've been hearing is happening in this case. It's affecting working relationships between Hong Kong artists and companies, and even collectors kind of want to know where their other artists stand on this issue. And one instance where we know this has been publicly announced is that due to Fluffy House showing a public support of an independent Hong Kong and no extradition bill, basically Pop Mart has made an official announcement that they have released and will no longer be producing product with Fluffy House.
Really?
Yeah.
Basically, I think there was a divide there, and essentially by supporting what's been going on with protests and sort of what Hong Kong is siding with, since Fluffy House sided with them, they basically broke ties. And there were actually things that we talked about last episode that we saw for Fluffy House releasing at BTS. And then once we saw and dug into it, we realized that they actually cut ties, and Fluffy House is not going to be at BTS. And actually some of the news that we discussed, like the new Fluffy House blind box series, is actually no longer happening.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I think some other artists may have been pulled into the discussion as well, but from what I've seen and dug into, and like I said, WeChat and Weibo are not English-based apps, so it's a lot of translations and kind of digging in and trying to piecemeal. But it looks like it was just the Fluffy House Pop Mart relationship that was affected by this. But it is a bit crazy to see politics coming in and affecting the toy scene, and I don't know. I don't know.
Let's move on. This is a real downer, just like politics always are. Just news in general is always a bummer. Our job is to be a little more lighthearted and make people laugh. So let's move on from this and let's just say it's a bummer that political views have gotten in the way of us seeing some awesome toys that Fluffy House have made and that they've had to part ways. But it's the biggest thing that matters right now is that we hope our toy family out there in Hong Kong and China, we know you're going through some tough times, and we just want to say we hope everyone stays safe, and hopefully things settle soon. But as far as we're concerned, let's move on to something fun and lighthearted. George, what do you got?
Oh, back to me, huh?
Here, I know, I'll save the day. Well, let's segue from politics to our sponsors. So for all your designer toy needs, wants, and desires, you can visit 3 awesome stores, 3dretro.com, strangeCatToys.com, and myplasticheart.com. If you visit myplasticheart.com and happen to live in the States and spend $75 or more, be sure to use our promo code TOYFAM at checkout, and you'll receive free shipping on your entire order. Also, if you visit strangecattoys.com and load up that cart, use our promo code MARSHAM at checkout, and you'll receive 10% off that entire order. Otherwise, to stay on top of all the latest and greatest in designer toy news, be sure to like and follow SpankyStokes.com and thetoychronicle.com. Did you all happen to see the animated stuff, that like animated promos as a couple companies did this week?
What does that mean?
So it was, we saw some, oh my god, the L word again. The animated Labubu's that Pop Mart did. They were kind of dancing around, kind of like Alvin and the Chipmunks, playing guitars and stuff, just being rambunctious. And then the other one was Super Plastic did a 3D animation of Pete Fowler's hench character. It was an animated promo for their glow-in-the-dark release. It actually happened today. So it was kind of nice to see the characters animated. It gives you something to watch, gives you a sense of the personality. I mean, it's kind of, yeah. I don't care. I don't care to talk about hench. I never even cared about the toy before. I only talked about it because it was animated.
I have to say though, by seeing it animated, I do like it more, because when I was seeing the stills, I mean, it's kind of like a creepy Yeti monster dude, and he's got a grill, so he looks like he's kind of this hardcore street guy. But in the animation, I don't know, it makes it look more like a fluffy kind of monster, more Monsters Inc-esque. Like, I feel like he'd be a teddy bear. He wouldn't hurt me. I could hang out with him.
Have you seen it, George? Have you looked it up while we're talking?
I got the email.
Oh, an email?
You're talking about the hench thing, right? Still?
Yeah.
Yeah, but the animated social posts.
Oh no, I haven't seen that. I don't care about that figure.
What is going on this episode?
No offense to that figure. No, I don't care. I don't know. I don't care about it. It's just not. Let me.
It's not
Chris
for you.
Raniak, I'm gonna take your words again. It's not for me.
Once again, Raniak is mentioned every single episode.
And it wasn't me.
It wasn't you. We're talking about international stuff. Let's talk about some things that get lost in translation.
All right. What do you mean?
Well, I'll have to say the L word again.
Here we go.
Labubu.
Of course you did.
Hold on, George. I'm going to put it in the doc for you.
Oh my gosh. Why is this?
What doc is this that you keep referencing?
Not the doc. Our chat window.
Oh, okay.
Let me find it. I can never seem to find our chat window.
It's on the main page where your face is.
So let's move over to things that are lost in translations with some international toy designs and stuff like that. So again, I'm not supposed to say the L word, but I'm going to Labubu. There was another one released for Beijing Toy Show. It was a Labubu tumbler. But George, click open this link that I sent you and tell me what you see.
It looks like he's jerking off.
Right?
And it looks like he's basically like A-OK, and the other guy's going, it's A-OK to masturbate. That's what it looks like to me.
Yeah, he looks like he's jerking off and like giving you the okay symbol.
Yeah.
You want to know?
I'm sure that's not what it is.
Good God, can you hear me?
Yeah? Why?
You keep talking over every answer I say. I'm sitting here going, yeah, and then you keep talking, and I'm like, I don't even think you can freaking hear me. Oh my gosh.
What people don't realize is that drives Teresa absolutely nuts. But I fix it in edit, and they have no idea. That's awesome.
They have no idea that you literally just talk over me the entire freaking time, and I want to smack you through my phone.
That was good.
Continue.
Well played. I'm not going to talk. I'm done. Keep going. Talk to yourself.
I can't even get a word in, even after you know and are aware. This is why I think sometimes I talk rushedly. Like I'll be talking and like this, and I'm really fast because I'm just trying to speak in between your breath.
Well, I apologize. Going forward, I will be more cognizant to let you speak. So, getting back to what we were talking about, the masturbating Labu. But George, the funny part of it is Teresa is the one that brought it to my attention. She saw it. So if Teresa's seeing it, everybody has to be seeing it.
I was like, it's cute, but it's kind of dirty. And that's what I said. I said it looks like he's kind of, going to town.
Can you say jerking off, Teresa?
No.
Masturbate? Can you say masturbate? Because that's the normal clinical term.
They're both,
dirty.
It's doing the dirty. I kind of want to.
Nothing wrong with masturbating. Everybody does it. It's just weird to see it in toy form. That's all.
I could say beat the meat.
Oh, that's worse.
That is way worse.
Right.
It's the first thing I thought when I pulled up in the picture.
Yeah.
Right? And I was like, oh, this is super cute. So what it is like when it says tumbler, really I think what it means is one of those kind of bobble toys where you could sit and you can kind of knock it back and forth. Kind of like the
wobble?
Yeah, like a Weeble Wobble, like the old Friends with You toys. But it's basically, so it's that kind of pear-shaped toy. It's pretty big. It's pretty cute, right? It's got Boo-Boo's face, the little ears. But it's those hand gestures. And I was like, oh, man, like those are really dirty. If they didn't have the hands, it'd be really cute. But when I saw it, so I was like, okay, that looks super dirty. But I was like, there's got to be a reason. There's got to be some other like cultural thing or something it's influenced by that we're just misinterpreting. Some kind of symbol or statue or thing. So I start Googling around, and I think I searched Thailand statue. And then I found, let me see if I Googled Thailand. I Googled Thailand statue pose, and I started looking through the images, and lo and behold, there is a statue, and I'm trying to find it so I can say,
You've done a lot of
was
work.
it a Thai? It's like a Thai Buddha statue, but apparently it's like there's like a hand gesture the statue makes, and it's more of like, instead of, the hand gesture of what it looks like, it's really just like two fingers are touching, your thumb and your index touch. One is placed up kind of in an OK symbol, but the other you twist, and it's like your palm is upwards. But on that Labubu toy, it definitely does not translate, especially if you're not very familiar with that pose.
Is it fair to say that you're not going to pick it up then?
Yes, I think it's fair to say.
So wait, is that what a Labubu is? That guy?
That.
Yeah,
I still don't know what Labubu is.
Yeah, that's him on that shape.
Does he always have that like menacing grin, like he's really going for it?
Yes, that's the Labubu face and the eyes, like the typical. But damn it, George, we were talking about last week how the toys kind of gotten tainted a little bit from the licensing, and now you've absolutely ruined it. Jesus. Maybe this is a new segment for us. Every once in a while, we present a toy that gets lost in like international translation, whether it be a name or a pose or whatever.
I like it. I like lost in translation stuff. So.
Okay, so let's try another one though. This one also comes from Teresa. This is something that she saw that she sent to me, and I kind of see it, but I want to see how you feel about it, George. So I'm gonna. This is the Mini Rabby produced by Unbox. So I'm gonna send you the link and tell us what your first thought is.
All right. Looks like chocolate bunnies.
Okay, look at the little one.
No, I just see chocolate bunny. It's just the way he's sitting. I don't see it doing anything bad.
Okay. Teresa, what did you say? Because I'm kind of with George on this one.
I just don't. It may just be I don't like this sculpt. I just don't like the position of the bulgy, fluffy part.
Because you were saying it looks like a scrotal sack or something?
No, it doesn't look like that.
Oh, it's like just, pushing its little fat down with its hands.
I don't know. It's just the way that the legs are sprawled and pointed up and.
No, nothing wrong with this one.
Yeah, I think you got an extreme sensitivity because I didn't see it either, but you sent it and I didn't. I'm like I forced myself to see a scrotal sack in here because you said there was something here.
I don't think it's a scrotal sack, but I think it's your fault. I think you've ruined me, Gary, because you always find these weird hidden things in toys and ruin them, and now I feel like I overanalyzed.
Yeah, that's my fault. I apologize because I know I've definitely tainted a few toys for you just because I've seen mainly penis shapes in them. But so this is a toy that you're not going to pick up, the Mini Rabby?
I just can't get over that weird bulgy, fluffy piece.
Okay. How is this episode? Is this a train wreck?
Terrible. Yes, it's the worst episode ever.
Whatever, it needs to stay exactly as it is, and everyone needs to hear how bad we are.
Why would you ever listen to the show? This is why I edit, because if I leave it exactly the way it is, I would never tune in again.
Well, this is how you kill the show. Play this one in its entirety. No edits.
Oh my gosh. This one feels especially bad. I don't know why. Maybe I used up all my mojo trying to do all this prep.
There you go.
Maybe you just didn't have the mojo you thought you did. And this is how we are.
Maybe I just never got it back. Maybe it was a false positive last week.
Damn. All right, let's try to save it.
Okay, let's move on. Let's move on from this one. Okay, I want to bring up something that's kind of exciting.
Okay.
There was some news that came up after we recorded, and do you all know Momiji dolls?
Yes, I know. Yes.
Do you know who those are, George?
What is it called?
Momiji dolls?
Yeah.
Okay. So for those that may not know who are listening, Momiji Dolls is it's a company based in the UK. It's a pretty small company, but they produce these resin dolls. They're usually like humanized. They're not typically like fantasy or characters or anything, but they'll be themed. They'll be Halloween themed and Easter, so it's seasonal, but also just cutified little girls. And they're messenger dolls. So under their feet, it's a little slot for a little message slip that you can gift it and send a little note on or whatever. But anyway, Momiji's been around for a while, and that's actually one of the toys that pulled me into this scene. It's something that I've been collecting for a while now. I'm not as hardcore as I used to be, but I still follow them. And surprisingly enough, I thought it was pretty surprising, but exciting. They're actually doing a collaboration with Pop Mart and releasing their very first vinyl blind box series.
Which is amazing. I saw it and it looks so good.
Yeah, it's circus themed, and they've been, I think, 10 plus years been making these resin dolls, and they've never done anything like this before. So it's really, really exciting, and like you said, it's great designs, and it's a really cool opportunity. And I feel like, honestly, by them attending Beijing Toy Show, that's probably helped create that connection for them. I feel like that's it was actually in the Toy Chronicle article, right, Gary? Talking about how Pop Mart uses the two shows that they have, BTS and STS, to kind of create different artist relationships. So it seems it's paid off for Momiji now, and they're getting their first blind box series, but it's super cute.
It's awesome. It's the first time Momiji is going into a vinyl form. It's the first time they're going into a blind box form. Usually, like you said, it's kind of released always as a one design exclusive, always in resin form. So these ones are going to be actually a slightly different size than the resin ones. They're going to be vinyl, and they're not going to have that messenger aspect to the design anymore. I heard there's going to be a card inside the box with it, but there's no insert for the messages to go on the underside of the toy. But all that aside, I absolutely love this series, and it just makes absolute sense for them to be working with Pop Mart and finally getting a blind box series. Just, the theme is great. For those not familiar, Momiji Dolls is designed all by one artist, Helena Stamulak. You can find her on Instagram, Lala Friends. But she's so good. Her design sense is amazing. Her color palettes are incredible. So yes, I am super excited about this. And honestly, I'm probably going to pick up an entire case of these.
You're going to buy a case of toys, Gary?
Yeah, I think so. This is an amazing series. I love the theme. I told you I love circus theme. And really, every design in this series there's not a weak one in the bunch. Plus, I love Momiji. I want to help support them.
So
wow.
the one,
Look at you.
Yeah.
I know, I'm kind of shocked here. Gary Ham buying a case of blinds. Now you got to do an unboxing video.
No, I don't. I don't see myself doing that.
Well, so what's interesting, I think, so on the flip side, we're familiar with this kind of stuff, right? Different artists or companies branching out, right? We were even talking about how Labubu's exploding. I'm going to say the L word, but the growth they're having, and they're getting into licensed stuff. Just kind of how you were talking, how you were having kind of some uneasy feelings about, the direction they're headed in. What was really interesting is, because I've been in the Momiji world for so long, I'm in a lot of hardcore Momiji collector groups on Facebook. And so when the news came out, when they announced they were doing this series, it was really interesting seeing the reaction of the hardcore collector base. And unfortunately, a lot of people were really turned off by it. And so, reading through the comments, people were saying, I don't want to do blind boxes. I like the fact that I can always just buy a design I like. I don't want to have to sit and try for a billion boxes, keep trying to find the one I want. A lot of people were saying they didn't know how they felt about the change in material, because all the Momijis they have right now are resin and it's not going to fit in. People also talking about the size difference and how they like the cohesive look of all their current Momijis, and they don't like that it's going to introduce another size to the platform, because that's something they've been experimenting with lately. They've actually introduced 3 different sizes now, but most have been their typical standard, about 3-4 incher. But so it's really interesting kind of seeing those people that, if they're really focused in the Momiji world and may not know a lot about designer toys or blind boxes, that they had a kind of negative reaction to it. And I don't know, it just reminded me a lot of, I don't know, I feel like I've seen it before. Anytime there's a really hardcore collector base that are really into a very specific thing, they really seem to not like change. I mean, Course Toys, I think, is a really good example. I remember when I jumped in the scene, it was because of the Omens, but I was looked down upon because I wasn't really into their old school stuff. I just liked their more cuter stuff. And a lot of the hardcore Course followers thought the Omens were complete shit and hated them and didn't want them at all. But I don't know, what is up with our scene?
They're a bunch of babies. I say, wah. If you don't like it, don't support it. They're still going to be making the other resin Momiji dolls that they're known for. This is just something they're exploring, and it's a cool new platform. It's vinyl. It's going to be cheaper than their resin ones. If you buy a case, you get them all. There's no chance, unless you don't want them all, you just want 1 or 2, then yeah, you're going to have to find it on the secondary market. But I don't think there's any reason of concern here. It's just, they've been doing Momiji for over 10 plus years. Let them try and explore new avenues and go with them. If you like it, if you don't, stick with the resin ones. Who cares? Elitists are annoying.
I agree. Well, and it's also I feel like every artist does that, right? they're going to try and explore different things. And you think about, I don't know, some people will do handmade resin at first because it's something they can do on their own. And people really get into that and really like resin. But then they finally produce their first vinyl toy. And there's always going to be those people that are like, oh, but I really like it in resin. Where on the flip side, there's people out there who maybe couldn't afford the handmade resins and are super excited that there's finally a vinyl piece. So
Yeah,
yeah,
myself included. I love Momiji dolls. I love Helena Stamilak. She's the artist and designer behind the Momiji dolls. I just adore her work. It's just great color palettes, great designs. But I've never been a big fan of resin-based toys. So I own several Momiji dolls. But now that they're going to be released in a vinyl form from Pop Mart, I love that. I really am excited to finally get a vinyl Momiji doll.
yeah,
And
and
the
that's
thing
the whole,
about losing the message doesn't care. No, you don't care about that part.
I know. Did anyone ever use that in the first place? I certainly did.
yeah. As a collector, I didn't. I mean, I left the little paper in there, and I gifted a Momiji doll to someone and did write on the paper. But as a collector of just the toy and not as a gift, no, I could care less about the little paper inside.
Same. But at the same time, it's not a deterrent. And I think it's actually really cool that it's there. I know when people have come over and they've seen them, I would always surprise them because I would turn it over and show them this other little thing that it does. And they're like, oh, that's really cool. So it's a nice surprise. I've just never actually used it. I've always kept these things for myself. So I've never gifted one and wrote happy birthday or happy anniversary or whatever on them. But I'm very excited to actually be talking Momiji dolls on the show, actually. This is one thing that you and I always shared in common outside of the show, but it's nothing that we've ever talked about on it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and that's the thing. I mean, Momiji has always been sort of an interesting company where it sort of delves into our scene, but sort of doesn't. It kind of lays on the line because you're right. I mean, there are some people who come out and would buy it as a gift because they do that intentionally. Along with doing seasonal toys, they will name them things like Explore and Thank You and Treasure or whatever. Treasure's not one, but Explore and Thank You with the intent that you could buy the doll named Thank You, gift it to someone as a thank you for something. Or the Explore one, if you know someone who's about to go travel or on a trip, you could send it to them. So they've always had this sort of collectability to it, but also meant to be a gifting style. And this is just leaning more into that collectability side. And I think you make a good point. There's people out there who, whether they were too pricey or they didn't like the material. I mean, these things, since they're vinyl, those resin ones, they're great. But I mean, I'm nervous all the time. They're going to fall and chip and...
Most of mine are sadly have some sort of chip or scratch on them. That's because I've moved several times since owning them, and I wasn't as careful as I was supposed to be. But so, yeah, I'm excited about these being in vinyl. And I'm also very excited for Momiji to be collaborating with Pop Mart because I think it just makes sense. It's a perfect alignment in my mind because actually the Toy Chronicle did an interview. Andy Hung did an interview with one of the CEOs of Pop Mart, and in there he was kind of talking about their demographic, and Pop Mart really is in touch with their demographic, but they were saying their demographic is between the ages of 18 and 35, urban white-collar employees and students, and primarily 75% female. So wouldn't you say that is pretty much the Momiji doll fan base too?
Oh yeah, more. I mean, there are very few men.
that's what I mean. It's like Pop Mart, yeah, they're putting out a lot of product. Yeah, but they're so in touch with their consumer base. I think a lot of these other toy companies in the designer toy scene, they talk about wanting to make cute stuff and whimsical stuff to appeal to the female collector base, but they still seem very masculinely ran. A lot of the designs tend to lean masculine and whatnot, and Pop Mart, I think, is by far the best at tapping into that female collector base.
I agree. I mean, that speaks to me, and their stuff. I'm constantly seeing series after series after series after series that I love, and I'm getting better about enjoying with my eyes. But yeah, I mean, they definitely are. You know, they know what they need to do, and they're hitting it. Like, I can't even speak, Gary. What's it called?
I don't know. What are you talking about?
Where you put the arrow in the middle of the target.
Bullseye? Is that hitting the bullseye? Yeah, they're absolutely doing that. They're hitting it every single time. Who's ever creative directing over at Pop Mart, I imagine it's a few people, but they're extremely in touch and in tune with their fan base and their collectors, because they're doing a phenomenal job. And they're not only creating series that are just for the female collectors, because I know tons of guys that are also buying into a lot of these series too. So they're just doing an all-around great job at crossing over into, seems like, all consumers.
Yeah, they definitely, they found the right formula for cute, I have to say, because there are, different toys that also pop up where I can see they're trying to lean cute or lean kind of more feminine, but they just aren't hitting the mark. They're just not there. Like, I look at it and I'm like, I kind of like it, but I don't like it enough to buy it. But Pop Mart, they've hit that sweet spot. And I see constantly series after series where I'm like, I really like that. I really like that. I really like that. So they're doing something right. And I think the exciting thing about this Momiji collaboration is, again, we were talking about the trends. And once they pick up an artist, they tend to do repeated series. So I hope it does well, and it means we'll continue to see various Momiji blind box series in different themes released over time.
Does Pop Mart hold licenses, like the way Kid Robot has licenses? So if they bring in somebody, can they put licensing stuff on other things? Like, what would happen if there was a licensed Momiji? Would you like it?
Maybe. It'd really depend on the license. I'm sure they would find one that I would absolutely adore. But as far as Pop Mart, I don't think they do a lot of licensing. I can't think of anything offhand license that they've done. Usually, George, it's primarily just theme type series that a lot of people can relate to, but not necessarily based off of a license.
Nice.
Yeah. They do have some licenses, but from what I can tell, they will use them, but the majority is artist collaborations. So I think the other interesting thing too is that to me it definitely is very clear that BTS and STS are kind of critical to them. I mean, we are, the artists we've talked about back when we talked about STS, we're starting to see series through Pop Mart with them, and now Momiji, who's been attending BTS, and I don't know, it's intriguing. Like, I feel like if you're looking for an opportunity to potentially collaborate with Pop Mart, you may want to look to get your butt over there and network. Anyway,
right, let's wrap this up.
George is done.
No, has it been that bad, George?
It's time to wrap it up.
George,
you gotta take your kids to the park.
Well, George has spoken. Enough said. Let's wrap this up. So we'll eventually find our mojo back. It wasn't this episode, but until then, why don't each of you take a brief moment and let our listeners know where they can find you?
I don't know where my mojo is, but if you want to find me on Instagram, you can check me out at tmhawk24.
George, you're taking over next week?
Let's say 2 weeks. We got a big deadline at work, so I'm a little bit packed right now.
All right.
But next week I will be able to talk about PowerCon. We're going to PowerCon this weekend. So
What's PowerCon?
The annual He-Man and She-Ra convention.
Yay! Yeah, maybe we'll take next week off.
Oh, you son of a...
No, we'll see. Okay. Where can people find you, George?
At Double G Toys on Instagram.
All right, I'm Gary Ham. You can find me at Gary Ham on Instagram or superham.com. This has been the Marsham Toy Hour. We're trying to do this every single week, not because we have to,
but because Teresa wants us to.
So until our next transmission, we're signing off. Bye.
Bye.
Woo.
That was tough.
That one was a struggle.